Are you serious about investing but also have some debts that you owe on right now and unsure whether you should be focusing on paying down those debts or investing your money? If so, make sure that you stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know the answer as it relates to your specific financial situation. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jose Hernandez, and on this channel, we discuss all things investing, financial planning, wealth building, and making sure that you don't have to work until age 100. And in today's video, we're gonna discuss what you should be thinking about if you currently have some debt right now and you're unsure whether you should be paying it down, investing, or doing a combination of the two. The first place to start is understanding that not all debt is created equal. The reason why I bring this up is because I'm not going to say any names, but there are some people in the personal finance space that treat all debt as totally bad and evil. What? And the truth is, that's just not very accurate. In fact, there are healthy types of debt for you to have on your balance sheet. And having these debts on your balance sheet doesn't make you lousy with money or a bad person. Being debt-free is a great financial goal and something that we should all definitely strive to achieve. But some people make the mistake of being so obsessed with becoming debt-free that it takes them years to pay down that debt. And as we'll talk about here in a little bit, that can actually cost you in the long run because of the years that you're not investing some money as well. Examples of healthy debt to have on your balance sheet are things like a mortgage. If you're watching this and you went to school to make an investment in yourself, in most cases, some student debt is healthy to have on your balance sheet, or any type of debt that you took on, maybe if you're in business that represents an investment in yourself. But there are some unhealthy types of debts out there to have on your balance sheet. What are unhealthy types of debt? Well, really, it represents any type of debt on your balance sheet that has a high interest rate associated with it and is really doing nothing for you. It's just paying your creditors. Classic examples would be high interest consumer debt like credit cards, personal loans, in some cases even auto loans. It really depends, but the kicker here is, again, high interest rate doesn't serve you and in many cases is not tax deductible. So when you're weighing your options, whether you should be paying down the debt or investing, it's very important to look at the different types of debt that you have right now on your balance sheet, because that's going to be a big sign as to what you should be focusing on. Which brings us to the next point, which is understanding how the debt is affecting your cash flow. As we discuss often on here, investing and wealth building does take money. The good news is it doesn't have to come all at once, but you do have to put money to work for you in order to build assets and in order to build wealth. One thing that you should do is to take a look at your cash flow currently and see how much is going towards interest payments on your debts. If you currently feel like your cash flow is very tight, meaning you don't have a ton of money left over at the end of the month or whenever you get paid to invest, it could be a sign that you're getting eaten alive by high interest debt. And in many cases, if that is you, it could be a sign that you should be prioritizing paying down the high interest debt first before investing your money. Hey, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We discuss all things wealth building here. It's totally free, and it's another way to guarantee that you won't have to work until age 100. So once you understand the types of debt that you carry right now on your balance sheet, and you've taken a look at your cash flow to see whether or not you have some room to invest based off of how much you're paying in interest, now it's time to actually make the decision, do I invest, do I pay down the debt, or do I do a combination of the two? The key thing to understand here is a concept called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost refers to what you're giving up in order to go with the alternative decision. As an easy real life example of opportunity cost, the opportunity cost of going out on a Saturday night to party or go to the club is the good night's rest that you're giving up that night. The opportunity cost involved with eating unhealthy foods is potentially the healthy body that you're giving up. You get the point. So when it comes to investing, there's opportunity costs involved with waiting to invest. And this is why it's so important to arrive at a decision as soon as possible and come up with a plan, whether you should be investing, paying down your debt, or both. In many cases, if you have healthy debt on your balance sheet that isn't totally crushing your cash flow, it can make sense to come up with a plan to start investing while also making sure that you're paying down the debt. The reason why this can work out is because a lot of people forget one of the most important variables in the compound interest and wealth creation equation is time. You might have heard the phrase, time in the market is more important than timing the market, and that's exactly what it's referring to. Because the earlier you get started, the more likely it is that you're gonna build significant wealth over your lifetime. And the opportunity cost in the grand scheme of things of waiting to invest can literally be tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars because of how compound interest works. If it takes you 20 years to pay down your debt and you forgot to invest the entire time, that can be a huge mistake because of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're giving up in terms of opportunity costs in compounding. And to provide you with an example of how costly it can be to wait to invest because you're so focused on paying down debt, here we're looking at the cost of waiting in terms of a calculator. And this is an oversimplified example, but it does show you the concept of opportunity costs in real time. So we're assuming that we have zero initial savings, and what if we had invested $500 a month or $6,000 a year over a period of 25 years. But here's the kicker. We waited to start investing for 10 years because we were so focused only on paying down debt that we never made room for investing. Let's look at the numbers here. If you did this, so invested the $6,000 and just assumed a very conservative 8% annual return in the market, over a period of 25 years, if you didn't wait to invest, that could have grown to $473,726, of course, pre-tax. But what if you waited 10 years? Remember how important the concept is of time in investing. If you waited 10 years to start investing that amount of money using these types of assumptions, you only end up with $175,946, meaning that the cost of waiting in this example was almost $300,000. And that's just $500 a month that you didn't invest over a period of 10 years. So when you really understand the numbers behind it, you see how important it is to get started ASAP. That being said, remember, personal finance is personal for a reason, and you need to determine how comfortable you are personally with having debt on your balance sheet. There are people that just cannot sleep at night because they know that they have debt. And if that's you, that's okay. You can come up with a plan to pay down that debt first, but make sure that you do it as quickly as possible. If so, that way you can start taking the money that was going towards the debt and investing it instead. A lot of people use the example of how a 8% average return in the stock market long-term beats a 3% mortgage. That definitely makes sense from a math perspective, but keep in mind, it's not just about math. It's also about how comfortable you are in your own personal financial life. If you decide to take the route of paying down the debt while also investing some of your money, the best thing that you can do is come up with a cash flow plan for every month, which allows you to make sure that all your bills are paid, you're doing the things that you enjoy doing in life, but you're also making room for paying down that debt in a specific time frame with a goal behind it, and also making room for your investing. And as you pay down more and more of that debt, that frees up even more cash flow for you to be able to invest and build long-term wealth in the markets. So to recap, if you're not sure whether you should be investing or paying down debt, here are the 3 things to consider. First, you want to get clear on what types of debt that you have on your balance sheet, because not all debts are created equal, meaning that you should not treat all debts equally the same or prioritize paying them down the same. Next, it's important to understand your cash flow to see how much room you have for investing. If you have plenty of room to invest and pay down debt, that could be a sign that it makes sense to do both. And if you just don't have a ton of room to invest because of your debt, that may be a sign that you should prioritize paying down the debt first and then worrying about investing. But remember, it's very important to remember the opportunity cost involved with waiting to start investing. So this means that if you do decide to focus on paying down debt first because you're just not comfortable with having debt on your balance sheet, make sure that you come up with a plan to pay it all down ASAP, so that you can start replacing the amount of money that was going towards debt towards investing, so you don't miss out on precious time in the market and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in compounding long term. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of perspective and some things to think about if you're currently in debt but also wanting to invest. Like many things in our personal finances, there's a lot of different ways to look at something. There's a lot of different ways to answer these types of questions, and there's no real right or wrong answer in many cases, even if the math shows one thing or another. It all comes down to your personal financial plan, your family's preferences, and what puts you in the best spot to be successful long term. If you have any questions or even want to share how you've been going about managing debt while building wealth for the future, I'd love to hear from you. Drop your insights down to the comments below. I'm always reading them and always love to hear from other people. And also be sure to like this video and smash the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on weekly uploads on all things investing, wealth building, and more. This channel is going to be a huge resource for you in your investing journey, and it's a great way to make sure that you don't have to work until age 100. All that being said, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Again, my name's Jose Hernandez, and happy wealth building.